Cavs. It's
Cavaliers last night.
10 minutes in your guys' ears, bro.
Down 11 in the fourth at the Knicks, which was a little perplexing, even though they lost by 11 to the Knicks earlier this year. They clawed back. Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell played. He clearly looked okay for most of the game. Mm-hmm. Down the stretch, he just wasn't good. Missed some shots.
He did miss some shots.
He took the shot as on the last possession.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like him penetrating against a 7-footer. I thought there could have been a foul called.
He kind of went straight up, so it really wasn't a foul.
I mean, there was contact.
Yeah, I can understand that he was trying to get the contact.
Maybe if that game's in Cleveland, he gets a whistle.
Maybe.
But in New York, he obviously didn't get it. Ball kicks back out to Mobley, who takes a shot from the elbow. Didn't love it when he took it.
Missed. He was trying to get to Caris LeVert, but Mobley just kind of intercepted it.
I think you're right. I think you're exactly right.
And I'd rather have Evan Mobley take the last shot than Caris LeVert, so I'm okay with that. But it's a tough shot.
The troubling thing for me was Julius Randle had 8 3-pointers. I mean, I think he just hit another one at Madison Square Garden. He finished with 36, 13 rebounds. And there were a lot of things that I didn't like, but the one thing that glares at you is that guy shouldn't have 36 points in a game where Mobley and Allen are playing. He just had too many open looks. He hit too many shots. What do you make of the loss last night? Are we overstating the importance of it?
I mean, they had a game earlier on where Brook Lopez made 7 threes against them. So, like, if who do you want shooting the ball, Brunson or Julius Randle? I'll take my chances with Julius Randle. Like, some of it, I think, is – you want him taking those shots, and you're going to play the odds that he's not going to make them. Well, he made them last night, so you tip your hat to him and you move on. I don't know. I didn't. We had the game on. Ty and I were recording a podcast last night.
Both watching the game.
Yeah,
he's talking on the podcast.
Yeah, we had the game on in the background, but I didn't see every single play of it. It's a bad loss only because they were in position to win it. I don't mind Donovan going on Julius at the end of the game. It's a mismatch. It should be in Donovan's favor, you would think. So I thought it was okay. But I do think just in general, the Cavs' late game execution, it's fair to have questions about it right now.
Just for some odd reason, it just turns into ISO Donovan. I think that's just kind of lazy. Like, I get that Donovan's the best player on the team and you want him taking the shot, but at least draw something up. Like, come on, do something.
When Kyrie was early in his career and Byron Scott was the coach, Byron used to call 4 flat in every situation, end game scenario, where literally you'd put the ball in Kyrie's hand at the top and the other 4 dudes line up along the baseline and it was go make a play. And I asked him about it. And he's like, he's the best guy on the floor. He's our playmaker. I want the ball in his hands at the end. Give him a chance one-on-one to go make a play with somebody. And if you run pick and roll with Donovan, you know, now maybe you're forcing the ball out of his hands and forcing it to somebody else because maybe the Knicks trap him in the corner. You know what I mean?
But don't you want your best player to have the ball in his hands? Why? Because ultimately he's going to make the best decision.
And that's what they had.
Whether that be him taking the shot or him passing out of it.
And that's what they had. They had the ball in Donovan's hands at the end of the game in a mismatch against a big where he has a couple of options. He just missed the shot and didn't get the foul.
He got by the first guy.
He definitely got – no, it was Julius Randle. He took him straight to the cup.
He went right by him.
I think it was Jericho Sims.
My problem was I was wondering, did they let him get by him? Because you got a 7-footer standing at the rim. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's true.
And it didn't work out.
I think that
they almost baited him into that.
One thing that looks like it's becoming a problem is that our team doesn't do well against stretch bigs. I think that's what it is. If you got a stretch,
you see that, Jay?
If you got a center that can shoot Julius Randle is a center/forward. You got a guy that can stretch the floor out and can knock those 3 downs. That's twice this year.
Well, a lot of teams have problems with guys like that.
That's true.
And that's what I meant. Why I mentioned Brook Lopez earlier. The Bucks had a game earlier this year where Brook hit 7 threes. But if you tell me either the ball's going to be in Giannis's hands or we're going to have Brook shoot 7 threes, I'm going to take Brook shooting 7 threes every time. That's a fact. And he happened to make them. So I do think at times it feels like the Cavs are giving up too many wide open threes, especially that Golden State game the other night. Oh, my God. Dudes were shooting wide open.
No one near them.
So there are times where I don't know if it's a rotation thing. I don't know. I haven't looked at it that closely. But there's times where it's an issue, 100%. But it's a young team. They're figuring it out. This is the first time with a real closer in Donovan. Like, Darius is not a closer. He's not the guy he was last year. But if you're trying to win a title, I think you want the ball in Donovan's hands, not Darius's hands.
But when you do it that way, I love the word you used, lazy. Because when you're doing it that way and you're just going on the assumption that it can't be Darius, I don't know why it can't be Darius sometimes. Because if it's always going to be Donovan and the opposition is going to know that, it's easier to stop. If you have a second option that is a legitimate option that you know they're not afraid to go to, I saw Darius be that guy last year. And I don't know why he's having a problem being that guy with Donovan on the floor, but he is.
Well, he wasn't at Memphis. He didn't have Donovan on the floor, and he missed an open three. He tried to get to the rim. He got the shot blocked. He's not very big. Darius is not very big.
I know.
And it's going to be an issue. He's got to get bigger and stronger.
But if everyone's going to collapse on Donovan, he'll get open looks.
I don't want to put Donovan in the LeBron category. He's not. But the ball is always in LeBron's hands at the end of the game.
Right.
The ball is always in Michael's hands at the end of the game. That's where and that's why those guys are so good, because you know where it's going, and Kobe's going to make that shot anyway. Now, Donovan is not in that category or in that class, but that's his role. That doesn't mean he takes every last shot. He can make the open pass to Darius. But that's why Donovan's here, is you want the ball in his hands, and coaches will tell you. I've mentioned Mike Brown a couple times. I'll go back to the Detroit game, the LeBron game, when he just scored
the last 25 points.
Yeah. And I said, like, were you drawing things up? He's like, I'm drawing them up. He said, just go
play ball.
Just go.
Yeah.
And he said we had a timeout where the coaches were going to tell him something, and Mike goes, no. We ain't telling him nothing.
Let him go.
Put the ball in his hands. And let him cook.
To your point, he's the rare bird that you can do that with, and Donovan is not that guy. I was disappointed in not just the end of game scenario, but I thought his last 3 shots were not great shots.
He shot 2 threes, right?
Yeah, but I thought, in that situation, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's JB. I'm losing a lot of confidence in JB.
A lot of people are.
Well, close and late. Look, that's where NBA coaches make their money.
That's where they make it.
That's where they're making their money. And they're really making their money in playoff series close and late.
Yes.
And if it's problematic in regular season close and late, what do you think it's going to be in the playoffs?
That was my big knock on him last year in the play-in game.
Right.
I think he just flat out got out, especially that Atlanta Hawks.
With you. No,
I agree. Flat out got out coached.
I agree 100%.
And they may have to ultimately make changes. Not firing JB, but in terms of offensive and bringing in offensive minds. Like, there's other things that you can do to try and mitigate that, because I can't argue. I do think it's a concern. Especially in a playoff series, and that's why I thought it was so detrimental to the Cavs not to get that playoff series last year. JB needs it just as much as the players
They
do.
need the reps. Yeah.
But the coach needs it, of knowing we're going to play this team 7 times, or, okay, we can run this screen action over here, we can get Evan on the on a short pick and roll here, short side pick and roll, but they're going to take that away, so now what's my counter to that?
Right.
Like, JB needs that just as much as the players do.
What do you think of Thibodeau, by the way, before I make my next point?
I like Tom.
I do too. I like him a lot. He spent a year when he was kind of between jobs.
Yeah. Isn't he the one that got kicked out of Chicago for being too?
He plays all his players 47 and a half.
Ice.
He's great for one season, and then it goes downhill after.
There is a burnout factor with him. In his year after Chicago, he came to ESPN, and he was a very smart guy. He went on kind of a NBA coaches tour where he would go to San Antonio and spend time looking at Pop and studying with Pop, and Pop was sharing some of his knowledge with him, which I thought was brilliant. He used that time to sort of go into the lab and to become a better coach, and I always respected him for that. And we had some off-air conversations about that process, and I've always thought, I just think he's a great tactician. I think he's a really good coach, but I thought last night when the Cavs did come back, I immediately thought to myself, coaching's going to be the difference down the stretch, and they've got the edge. And I think that's what we saw play
That's
out.
what scares me about the Cavs. And I was thinking that before this season started. When they got Donovan, I was excited, but I was like, I need to see JB develop as a coach.
And I hope he can.
I hope he can.
Because I think the team responds to him.
When it comes down to it in them playoffs, that's going to be.
Yeah.
Because you got all the pieces. You got the Johns and the Joes. It's going to come down to the X's and O's.
It will.
And he's done a really nice job instilling a defensive mindset in this team.
Yes.
And he should get full credit for that. It's funny because it feels a little bit like Mike Brown the first time around, where everyone defends, and the offense was a little scattershot. at times we sort of get that same feeling here now.
Yeah.
But he's young enough in his career. This is his first real opportunity. I said it before. I thought he got screwed in Memphis. He was an interim in Houston, didn't get that job. Got fired in Memphis when I didn't think that was warranted. This is his first real opportunity now to see what he can do as a head coach.
I'm pulling for him. I want him to be the guy.
I want him to be the guy as well.
I do, and he might end up being the guy. But sometimes you've seen this where organizations grow at different rates, and I'm a little worried that this thing got too big too fast for the driver. And what I mean by that is he might be the perfect guy for a team who is on a slow trajectory to getting better. But what this Cavaliers team did overnight was went from one of these teams that has a chance in the East to here. And if the coaching talent isn't matched up with the playing talent, sometimes that becomes very obvious when you're watching playoff series in particular, when you're drawing up a lot of sets, coming out of timeouts, close and late. Like, I hope he's up to that task.
But what frustrates me is that he's had successful games against. I mean, he beat Boston twice.
I know.
He's beat Milwaukee. He's beaten some good coaches.
In the regular season where we've learned that some teams take it seriously every night and some teams don't.
And Boston, Milwaukee
and
do not.
Boston and Milwaukee are veterans,
No,
and
they don't.
they know to feather the accelerator. Nobody's floored to the pedal to
Cavs
the
beat
metal.
Boston twice in like November, December.
Yeah.
Boston don't give a damn about games in November, December. They're
wanna
playing for
impress
May
me?
and
matter a
June.
little bit.
Beat
That second
Boston-
time around, it matter a little bit more.
No, maybe a little more because
Little
they
bit
wanted
more.
revenge.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You want to impress me? Beat Boston twice in a row in May.
That would be really nice.
It's a totally different thing doing it in November.
That's true.
I
agree with that.
Here's the one thing that I hate saying this. I hate saying this out loud, but I've said this privately to some people. Like the Cavs transition from the end of the championship era into the start of this rebuild, I thought they made a ton of mistakes, and I wrote about them at length and angered a lot of people in the organization. And they've recovered from most of them. I thought they totally mishandled Colin, the Kyrie trade. They've tried to fit Colin into a role he wasn't capable of handling and all that stuff. But they've been able to pivot and adjust, and they've been able to correct and fix a lot of the mistakes that they made from that whole transition. The one that may haunt them is firing Ty, because Ty Lue is in a different class when it comes to what we're talking about. ATOs, postseason series, adjusting, making adjustments. Ty is in a different level.
Yeah.
And I don't know that JB's not in that class, but I know Ty is.
And he's got the reps.
He's
been there and done that. That gives him cred with the players.
Ty Lue is an elite head coach, in my opinion. I love Ty.
I agree.
I think he's fantastic. And I remember when we were getting toward the end of the run and everyone wanted to fire Ty and everybody was blaming Ty. I'm like, listen, I'm telling you right now, Ty is what is holding this together. Ty is not what was wrong with the Cavs. Ty is what's holding this thing together. I think he is elite. And that may be the one thing that they may not be able to recover.
How much better is this team if Ty was the coach today?
Well, Ty is a veterans coach.
He would be. It would be right now. You wouldn't be able to tell because he's preparing.
Would you feel more
for the
confident going into the playoffs?
Yes.
I would too.
And Ty was really good for a veteran team, and because like he let him go get drunk for 3 days in Napa in the middle of the season. Like, all right, go ahead. Like, we're gonna stop everything we're doing. Y'all go to Napa and have fun, and we'll catch you on the backside. And he gave them enough rope because it was a veteran team, and he knew how and when to pull them back in and get them ready for the playoffs. Ty is absolutely a postseason coach that I would want if my team's going to the playoffs. I want Ty because everybody praised Brad Stevens for people ATOs after timeout, plays coming out of timeouts.
Yep.
It's crucial in playoff series. Brad Stevens
It's
got
the
all
difference
this
in
credit.
playoff series. I really believe that.
Oh, it's for sure. And Brad got all this credit in Boston for being this ATO mastermind. Ty cooked his ass.
Yeah.
Just cooked him in playoff series on ATOs, and he never got the credit for it that he deserved.
Yeah, it's too bad.